we support Donald Trump and his agenda. That's it. That's it. They didn't go, we support Republicans. That is not what they said. They said, we support Donald Trump and his agenda. Therefore, the mandate and the order from the American people is whoever he nominates and appoints, you better pass him through the Senate. That is your job. You say, yes, sir, and you get it done. Whatever his agenda set out to do, we find a way to do it.
Marjorie Taylor Greene and the rest of her MAGA allies are already foaming at the mouth, as we knew they would, at the prospect of giving Donald Trump unchecked and unlimited political power, something that would cause untold damage to our country that we may never recover from.
If they use their police officers and their resources to harbor and protect illegal criminal aliens, then absolutely those sanctuary states and cities are in danger of losing their federal funding. Yeah. If these Democrat governors and mayors want to use their federal dollars and they want to use this funding to harbor illegal criminal aliens, then yeah, we're coming after their money and they don't deserve a single penny of it. You see, America's been really spoiled for a long time, but the federal government has been the worst abusers of the Americans' hard-earned tax dollars and the American people's trust.
While the cruelty and inhumanity of MTG's fear-mongering about immigrants living in sanctuary states should be enough to turn you off from anything and everything, she says. You know, she's not entirely wrong when she says the government has abused our tax dollars and our trust. But of course, she's saying it for entirely the wrong reasons. Tax revenue data published and analyzed by Jacqueline Dijon of Smart Asset shows that traditionally red states overwhelmingly benefit the most from tax dollars received from the federal government. It's just a fact, that compared to what they paid to the federal government. Now, this means that cutting off federal funding from blue states could lead to a standoff, with those states withholding tax payments to the federal treasury, ultimately negatively impacting the red states that so desperately rely on federal funding the most.
Please go to defendmtg.com. That'll help me fight as the deep state is coming after me because I'm trying to hold them accountable. The deep state, the media and the Democrats have really called for President Trump to be assassinated for years. None of us are shocked that this actually happened. We are just mortified that they did actually try to do it. And we don't have all the details. We don't know anything yet. But I think I'm just using my common sense like most people are, seeing everything they've seen. We don't buy the lie that they're laying out.
No, Marge. The deep state you're imagining is not responsible for all of the issues plaguing our country today, like you believe it is.
A lot of people don't give. I know a lot about overtime. I'd hated to give overtime. I hated it. I'd get other people, I shouldn't say this, but I'd get other people in, I wouldn't pay. I hated it.
But see, then they expect it, right?
They expect
December rolls around and I think Don's going to be good to me.
Neil, it's the same thing with the unions.
That's right.
They get their little 5%. They get another 2%. They get another 3%, 4%. Then all of a sudden they're making more money than the people that own the company.
I disagree with the idea of unions, but perhaps for a reason that is different than people may expect, which is I just don't like anything which creates kind of a lords and peasants sort of thing. And I think the unions naturally try to create negativity in a company and create a kind of sort of lords and peasants situation.
Nor would eliminating overtime pay and unions help solve the issue. Immigrants, the deep state, unions, they're all interchangeable boogeymen meant to distract from the real reason wealth inequality is so bad and getting even worse by the day here in America. And that real reason is capitalism itself, the lack of basic morality it incentivizes and how it divides groups of people that should be aligned in fighting for their shared class interests.
Working class and low-income people live, in some cases, 10, 15 years, not in some cases, on average, significantly less than the people on top. Why is that? Who said stress? Talk about it. Stand up. Don't be stressed out.
Whether it be debt, healthcare, our children's perspectives in the future, all of those things that the wealthy don't have to think about.
That is exactly right. It is the daily struggle to survive. All right? You're worried that your landlord may raise the rent. Landlord raises your rent, you're going to have to move. Your kid's in school, you're going to take your kid, move that kid to another school. It's a huge deal, right? You get sick. You end up in the hospital. Roughly speaking, half of people who get cancer in America lose their life savings in several years. And many of them are forced into bankruptcy. Okay? An astronomical number. Take a deep breath and think about the insanity and the cruelty. Talk about stress. I have talked to people who were terribly sick, didn't even tell their wives that they were sick. Terribly sick, because they were worried about the financial implications of their illness. So imagine struggling with heart disease, cancer, and then you got to worry about whether your family goes bankrupt. That's called stress. So we don't talk about it at all. But the working class in this country today is under enormous stress.
Tax breaks for the rich, destruction of Medicare, destruction of Social Security as we know it, lowering the minimum wage or abolishing it. How many votes do you think you'd get? Not a whole lot. Maybe the richest 1% would vote for you. But that's not a lot of votes. So what do? I've got a problem. You package it. How do you package it? What you do is divide people up. What do? We divide people up by races. Affirmative action becomes one issue. All them black people are getting the jobs that we white people used to have. Split people, working class, white against black, instead of working together to create decent jobs for all. Those uppity women now, they want the right to choose. We'll split people on the abortion issue. We'll split people up on the gun issue. We'll split people up on religious issues. You follow what I'm saying? So you split people up, and then they end up, if you're a middle-class person, voting against your own interests, and the rich go laughing all the way to the bank. Okay? And they very often play white workers off against everybody else. And we try to bring people together to say, look, we're all in this boat together, whether you're black or white, whether you're Hispanic, whether you're Muslim, whatever you may be.
What would happen if we started a worker-focused political party to compete against the Democrats? Stay with me here. The idea of a party that genuinely prioritizes the needs of working-class Americans is compelling. However, its success would hinge on overcoming the entrenched power of corporate interest and, of course, the two-party system. It is an uphill battle, but the growing discontent among working-class voters across the political spectrum shows there is a real appetite for this kind of movement.
The Democratic Party is a big, tumultuous coalition which thrives on robust debate. Leading that debate, the party needs a chair with intellectual heft and clarity in messaging. That's Wickler. On his website for DNC chair, he boils down his message and pledge to this. He vows to take on Trump, Republican extremists, and move our country forward. Our values, the core belief that our economy should work for working people and that every person has inherent dignity and deserves freedom and respect, are American values. They're not MAGA values. The richest and most powerful people want to divide us and enrich themselves. We've got to make sure that we are reaching people with the message that we are on their side and fighting for them. For Democrats, this is a critical time to unite and fight back against Trump's plans. Wickler is clear and compelling, and a growing number of Democrats across the spectrum now believe that he is the right person to unite and modernize the party and expand the map so Democrats can win and govern again. The establishment Democratic Party has failed. Ben Winkler understands the shortcomings and has proven that progressive values, doing big things and inspiring voters, can give Democrats and the country a brighter future. Fingers crossed that Wickler's candidacy for DNC chair is successful.